Art is awesome. Martial arts are awesome. Let's take a journey to where they both meet. Welcome to the Martial Arts podcast.
Wow.
And then him and his like two other friends or three other friends were breakdancing or trying to breakdance.
Okay.
But they were like bad. But they were bad.
Oh man.
But I mean, I respect him.
Yeah, I respect him too. Look up to him, even though he's probably not as tall as me. But yeah. Metaphorically speaking, you know what I mean? So, hey, everybody, this is Ray Kong Sarai bringing you the Martial Artsy podcast. Today's guest, awkward pause. Today's guest I have with me, Otto Is. If you know Otto, you know Otto. If you don't know Otto, let me give you a quick little rundown. Otto is an accomplished media arts instructor, professor, what have you. He's the owner of the FX Dojo. He does a whole bunch of cool stuff.
San Diego
in the house. He is one of the few people I know that have a professional boxing record. We'll get into that.
Oh yeah, by the way, if you're still listening, no, I'm just kidding.
if you're still listening, he's done jiu-jitsu. He has a gold medal for winning worlds, at least at one point.
I worked on Beavis and Butthead.
He worked on Beavis and Butthead. He also, OG, if you guys are old enough, if this is shooting over your head, if you remember MTV Claymation Celebrity Deathmatch, the original Claymation dude is right here. That's Otto. And I have the benefit of calling this guy my friend. So if we start sounding silly, you got to just kind of accept that, because I'm 90% silly and the 10% a whole bunch of other stuff.
Look, I just want to say this is cool. This is super cool because I know you got martialartsy.com like 10 years ago or something, and you're finally getting the podcast going. I'm here today to, like, make no doubt, I'm here to boost your numbers.
That's right.
I'm just trying to boost numbers. Okay. So if you want to hear more about my amazing life, keep listening.
Yeah.
I've done a lot. Well, you'll see.
No, he's done a whole bunch. And like, basically what we like to get down to are the nuts and bolts of, like, here on this podcast. Hopefully, if you listen to like more than one of them, if this is your first time listening, one of the things I like to do is I like to talk about martial arts.
Wait. You know how a lot of videos, they start out with like, they show like a little clip from in between, like somewhere from inside the video or inside the podcast, like something like that gets people like interested. So they're like, what would that be? We got to tell people like why would they want to keep listening to this?
Okay, so we're gonna talk about a whole bunch of cool stuff. Big thing.
Look, special effects. You ever seen like those Israel Adesanya, like all his what's that? You eating sun chips back there? No, like Cutcraft.
Yeah.
Israel Adesanya's got all these like awesome social media viral animation visual effects clips. I know how to do all that stuff. So
he's a professor. So if you go to school,
I'm actually, that stuff, I love that shit. But
he's gonna be.
What's the profanity?
I'm explicit, son.
Okay.
Yeah. You know how to do all that shit.
Yeah, I love that shit.
Yeah. FX Dojo. So we'll give a quick rundown of all the stuff before, because like we're probably gonna end up going off the reservation. But just to make sure, if you don't listen any further, tell them all your Instagram
off the reservation.
Stuff.
I prefer if you say replace that with like off the plantation. You see how that could be
misconstrued. Okay, I can own that one. Off the plantation, off the island.
Okay.
Off the miniseries. Off the Off the table of contents. If we stray from the syllabus, then you already know it's you know
got to
what I mean?
stray from the syllabus.
Yeah, because that's where all the good stuff's
No,
at.
no real teacher puts together a real syllabus.
Yeah,
I can say that because I'm a teacher at SDSU.
it's a real ass teacher, son. So, hopefully, he's still a real ass teacher after this podcast. So nobody show up. Tell them all your stuff though. So your Instagram.
Oh,
Give them all the rundown. So
I have two Instagrams. FX Dojo. That's FXDOJO. And I have less than 800 followers. It's not big, but that's all my 3D animation school related stuff. Then I have Clone of Otto, CLONEOFOTTO, and that's just my drawings.
word.
But my story is where it's at. That's where all the action is.
That's what. Yeah, that's what.
Clone of
magic
Otto
happens.
IG story.
Yeah.
That's where you see my food.
That's where you do the pre-meal prayer where you take the food picture.
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah. Food.
So-
and
So, off the top, so like I kind of alluded to earlier, this dude's done a whole bunch of stuff, and like here on the Martial Arts Podcast, we talk about martial arts, you know, as it pertains to like just like everything. Like I include boxing as a martial art. I think of judo, jiu-jitsu, karate. There are certain parallels that you can draw a lot between things that people do as far as martial arts and the experience of becoming a better artist, you know? So
yeah. Martial arts is kind of like religion in that you can use it as a blueprint. You can use it as a guide to life.
yeah.
And people that focus really hard on religion and martial arts, I feel like they are better.
Yeah.
They're better people just because there's just like a code. There's an unwritten code of conduct in martial arts.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to work hard.
Right.
You could be a dick still
Yeah.
and be a martial artist, as you saw from Karate Kid.
That's right. Bow to your sensei.
Yeah, but no matter what, you still have like you still have some kind of code.
Right.
You're not just a slob.
Right. You could be a.
Well,
There's like, all right. We're not gonna name drop
Yeah.
on any slobs we
Yeah.
know. Yeah. So it's like the notion of like to do something.
you're gonna be above average.
Right. To work hard and to know that if you try and you work at something, you're going to get better. Like if you're not satisfied with something and you do a revision and you do another revision until what you create meets the vision in your head artistically or in the realm of martial arts.
Wait. Did you just say you make a revision for your vision?
Revision for your vision. Revision until you reach your
I'm gonna
vision.
I'm gonna use that.
Dude, I'm Captain Quotable, so you just got to keep writing these down.
Yeah. Glad you don't have that many listeners yet.
Yeah, because all of them, they would be like T-shirts, mad T-shirts.
Yeah.
So if you have a T-shirt design company, this is the podcast. You need to subscribe to this because it's going to be some jewels upon jewels. We're going to be dazzle you, son. All the jewels.
Yeah. You know what's funny is I think I've interviewed you so I don't know if people know this, but we both train under Barrett Yoshida, or I would say I used to train since I
No,
haven't,
you still train. You just on a bit of a hiatus. That's all.
Okay.
Sabbatical.
Okay,
like teacher talk.
Yeah, I'll drop in once in a while. So back in the day, I would be that guy with the video camera in the jiu-jitsu room, interviewing Barrett, and next to Barrett, I probably interviewed you more than anyone else. So now I'm getting interviewed by you.
Like physically, like I take up a whole lot of space.
I interviewed Kong. One of the first interviews, the earliest interviews I remember was because you used to train in a wetsuit.
Oh snap!
Kong used to roll in a wetsuit. I don't know if you do that anymore. Probably not.
I don't fit in the wetsuit anymore.
Yeah.
That was back when I was trying to be svelte. You know,
You were like light heavyweight back then.
before I settled into being grown and husky. Now I'm grown and husky. You know what I mean? And it's, you just got to live your truth. My truth is 4XL right now.
So I actually tried that. I tried rolling in a wetsuit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
miserable.
There's no real reason for me to do that. I'm
Nah,
already
son.
too small as it is. I don't need to lose more water weight.
Yeah. Besides the losing the weight thing, losing weight is one thing, but
it doesn't make your technique better, I don't think.
It can if you're slow. So like it adds that extra bit of resistance.
I guess
to
if the other guy,
everything you're doing,
other guy's got to wear a wetsuit too, though.
If you're doing so like jiu-jitsu, you're typically in a crunch for like 90% of the time. Like you're shrimping or you're curling up to get an underhook and a butterfly hook or whatever it is that you're trying to sweep or like. So you're in this position, and if you actually put on a wetsuit, depending on the thickness of the wetsuit, it's like adding an additional layer of resistance to it. It wants to make you like straighten out, you know?
You wore a summer suit.
Yeah.
I wore a full-on wetsuit.
Nah, son, don't do that.
Yeah.
You might die.
It was tough. It was
I don't want that on my conscience.
I was like, this is how it feels to not be flexible.
Yeah. And on top of that, too, one of the components of that was I would wear a wetsuit and then train with smaller people. So I'm not experiencing the full smotherness.
Yeah. So that neutralized the handicap.
Yeah, but it makes me have to, like, to replace my guard, I have to move faster. And it's harder to replace your guard when you're in a rubber band with a zipper on it and you're trying not to die.
True.
So that was kind of one of the OG things. We did a whole bunch of different things together. Like, he's been around for like a hot second, like as far as like training with Barrett is concerned. And
yeah, I was there. I remember before Undisputed was even built.
Oh,
Undisputed's the first gym that Barrett started teaching at in San Diego, outside of Hawaii, probably, right?
Yeah, it was. He legit. He used to have a school in Eva Beach, and he got the opportunity to teach full time because the school in Eva Beach was only open like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Did you come to San Diego for Barrett?
100%. I was like a purple belt. I had recently got my purple belt in Hawaii, and I was working at the bank. I was working at like First Hawaiian Bank. Shout out First Hawaiian Bank. That's what's up.
Oh yeah, that's the job. You were there for like a week or something.
Nah, I was there for like 2 years.
Oh.
And it felt like 12 because I was in the call center. I was talking to people all day long. So I was getting yelled at by everybody's auntie. There was people that would call there and complain about things. And if you haven't noticed, like some of you guys are watching on video, you can see I'm kind of like an ogre, you know. You can see that. But some of you guys that are specifically listening, this happens to me all the time. People think I'm actually like a 12-year-old boy.
You're losing listeners right now.
I probably am, but I look like a 12. I sound like a 12-year-old boy.
Wait! Stay tuned, guys. Don't hang up yet, because we're
up.
gonna talk about dating advice.
Dating advice.
Yeah, this is gonna be
we ain't talking about no dating advice.
Swipe right podcast.
We're not. This is not. There's not gonna be any. There's not any dating advice. It's not. You can't look at me. I can't give you no dating advice. This guy maybe, because he's got that whole thing going on. That's his whole thing.
Nah.
Legit though. He like.
Have you dated anyone from your jiu-jitsu that you rolled with? What's your take on dating at the dojo?
Dating at the dojo, don't.
Why not? Why not though?
Because it's just it's a strange thing. Like
come on, man. Just say it. Just say it. Why? Why not?
Just don't do it.
What could happen?
What could happen?
I know people say don't shit where you eat, but just tell us what could happen. What has happened to you? Why not date at the dojo?
Because it's not cool.
Come on, man. Oh man, you're gonna
tell you. I'm trying to tell you.
You're gonna lose listeners right now. I'll tell you why not to date at the dojo. Because you're gonna ruin your chances. You're gonna ruin your chances of more dating.
I'll tell you like this. It's the same thing. So boot camp, all right? It's like Navy boot camp. Everyone shows up young, 17 years old, pimples on their face, 18 years old, pimples on their face, malnourished because you probably joined the military because you didn't have a whole lot of money in your pocket or whatever, and it made perfect sense for you to go take that ASVAB, go down to that office and sign that paper, and then end up in boot camp. Everyone's ugly. Day one, everyone's ugly and fat, but then they make you work out, right? And then they feed you like good meals like 3 times a day, and they make you drink a butt ton of water. So 6 weeks into a regular workout routine and proper health, everyone starts looking beautiful, skin glowing.
Okay.
So this is the deal. So if you're in boot camp and you say lose like 100 pounds, and there's a girl in boot camp that lost like 100 pounds, don't date that girl. Because do you date that girl in boot camp? You made this tremendousness, this complete transformation, and they kind of did the same thing too, but that's all that's in front of you. That's all that you can reach. If you don't understand that once you go out in the world and say you may have gone to your first gentleman's club experience, and you don't understand what that's going to look like when you walk through the mall that first time when you're on Liberty Weekend and you meet someone who's very nice.
So you're saying that
hasn't been subjected to you.
You're saying
you don't know what you got, and
okay.
so if you typically people that do that, like it's just because like a lot of times people that's the lifestyle they live, and so like it gets romanticized. Like that's like
okay. Wait, let me see if I can summarize what you just said. You're saying don't date at the dojo because you're only seeing you're seeing that person at their best.
You're seeing
and
that person, and it's not that you're seeing that person at their best, is that you're seeing someone, and a lot of times it's just because it's legit, like that's the closest person to you. Like you're not giving yourself a full sample of what is out there. And another thing is just that like there's a certain romanticism about people that do what you do, you know? Like if I were, say, like a teacher. Like if I was
So you're saying opposites attract, like don't date someone that has the same hobbies as you?
No, it's just, it's not that someone, like you guys can have the same hobbies, you know? It's just, you don't want to date someone literally because like you have the horse blinders on, you know? And if you have the horse blinders on and you got a good spot where you're training, your whole training situation works out and that works out in your life. Don't have the horse blinders on.
Okay, well, if you're doing jiu-jitsu, because we all know jiu-jitsu works, it's been proven, and let's say you're dating someone that does like, not to throw any martial arts under the bus, but this is Martial Arts podcast. Every martial art has its pros and cons. Okay, but let's say you're doing jiu-jitsu.
There's a lot of cons in jiu-jitsu martial arts.
Okay, true. Okay, let's say you're doing jiu-jitsu and your girlfriend is doing Krav Maga.
Okay.
And she starts saying, oh, this is the best martial art because, but we can't spar because I would kill you.
Like, that's
I'm just trying to bring this podcast back on
brand. Yo, so that's the interesting.
That never happened to me, by the way.
That never happened to me either. Honestly, like I legit respect all martial arts.
You do. I like that about you.
And I've never ever like I don't talk down on anyone's martial art. If someone were to like to state that, and then like if they wholeheartedly believe that, that might be like indicative, or however you say that out loud, because I've only read it.
Indicative.
That might be indicative of like a deeper problem. Like legit, like maybe like if her instructor is telling her stuff like that, like feeding her the old Denmark touch,
totally.
Touch. Give them the death touch treatment. That's indicative of like a deeper problem as far as like.
Okay, I like that topic. One thing that I realized recently is just because there's so much talk about politics, what's really crazy is I don't really have a strong political stance like left or right, and like I'm not even going to talk about like who I would vote for and stuff like that. But it is similar to if you take sides, you know what I mean? Like if you're always talking about, Trump this or Trump that, or I hate this about Hillary or whatever. And you might be that guy that's like, a jiu-jitsu purist or something. You're right. You could,
try like
have an
legit,
open mind,
The funny thing is, like, I have legit been doing, like, myself been doing jiu-jitsu for so long. I have seen trends come, trends go. I remember back in the day.
iPhone or Android?
I've had both,
Okay.
But currently right now, you know what I mean? They're tribes, you know what I mean? So it's just like there's people that, like, refuse to see, the good in something because they're invested in the good in something else, But legit, you can have good. You can have but like legit, jiu-jitsu is done like so old school back in the day. It was like arm bars and triangles. Arm bars and triangles were the thing. Then the next wave was like the first wave of like footlocks. Everyone was like footlock like this, and it was kind of taboo. And then it was like guillotine, and then it was like
you mean jiu-jitsu and MMA or just jiu-jitsu?
Just jiu-jitsu in general. Okay. It was like there's like these waves where someone picks something up and starts something or starts like a trend, and then from that trend, they legit like it becomes like a wave. Like everyone just like latches onto it, and like you see it like it's like a fashion. Like fashion comes and fashion goes. It like ebbs and
Too
flows.
bad you don't have more than one mic because we got some other martial artists here in the room.
Oh snap!
Shout out to KG Clips, and that's KG CLIPS.
That's what's up.
I know he used to train Muay Thai at City of Champions.
Oh, sick!
Over in Rolando.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dustin Thornton.
Yeah. Shout out.
And then we got 100 Sway.
100.
Yep. 100 SWAY, and he's a Muay Thai trainer. You trained jiu-jitsu too somewhere. I don't know where he trains though.
But legit, back to what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Before my guest interrupted me.
I'm gonna interrupt you more, by the way.
No, that's all good though. That's the whole point, bro. Yeah. Like, so I was talking about, it's like I've seen stuff come and go, right? And stuff gets pulled from different places, like if you look at like some of the guys like OG back in the day when like say like look at like Milton Vieira when he hopped on the scene, was like with like the Brazilian top team guys, and was like showing them like different types of guillotines and neck attacks. Like that was something that wasn't seen, like in jiu-jitsu at the time when he kind of like showed up, So people might have like there's like a wave of like wrist locks. Like if you got some dope wrist locks, like I'll be able to see what works and doesn't work, and I know enough to like be able to like figure out how to apply it and from where I'm at, But I'm not gonna be like, oh no, don't show me none of that, because that's that stuff.
Right. You're not gonna start hating on it,
right?
Just because it's unknown or new,
right? There's no like, just it's like the person that knows a lot is okay with saying like I don't know. Kind of similar on the same vein. Like I'm okay with asking questions, and okay with letting somebody.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
So ignorance is one of the reasons why people kind of separate or create boundaries. There's ignorance, but then there's also loyalty. Maybe there's this feeling of loyalty. There's
a bit of loyalty, but there's a little bit of security and insecurity that revolves around that loyalty as well. If you know where you're at and you know where you're secure, and you're training jiu-jitsu at say like a school, and you have a buddy that does aikido or aikijitsu or something of that nature, and their entire system is legitimately oriented around wrist locks and different like hand wrist stuff. If you're at the point where you're like a blue belt and you're like training like jiu-jitsu and you want to learn some dope wrist locks, play around, like figure that stuff out. Like you might figure out something that leads you down a path that like legit, like you couldn't even conceptualize that. Because at the end of the day, it's literally just layers and layers of like magic tricks. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know what I have here. Surprise, it's a rabbit, you know? Like setups and like traps. Like, it's literally just 100% a physical chess game of smoke and mirrors, you know? So if I learn a different approach or a different way to hide the rabbit that doesn't require
I like street magic.
Magic,
yeah. David Blaine.
Yeah, on some David Blaine. If I can swallow a tadpole and you don't see it or whatever, you know, like, and like burp and it comes out on my ear some smooth way.
That wouldn't be magic.
Wouldn't be magic.
That's just animal cruelty.
Unless it had hot sauce on it. Because that's how I roll. You know what I mean? Sa.
No, you're plant-based now, man. You can't swallow a tadpole.
Plant-based, but it came on my ear. So, you know what I mean? It's a circle of life. You know? Bow, just like that. In and out. Not the burger. You know?
When is In-N-Out coming out with the Impossible In-N-Out burger?
They better stay. It better be impossible for them to come out with Impossible burger.
You could just get fries.
Yeah. You could just get a grilled cheese.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean? Like grilled cheese, In-N-Out grilled cheese.
That cheese is, if you're plant-based, you can't eat cheese.
Well, how plant-based are you?
Okay.
You know what I mean? If you're a veggie, you can eat the grilled cheese.
Hey, can I ask you your opinion about Game Changers?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's my opinion about Game Changers. You know, it's one of those things where, like, legit, every single time, it's like every, like, 2 or 3 years, like, another one comes out, you know? And, like, we were just talking about, like, tribalism, like, how people eat a lot of times. There's a lot of tribalism that's involved in that. And somebody from the camp, from the no cruelty to animals camp, will jump out of the woodworks and be like, yo, if you eat chicken, you're going to die. It's like, all right, if you eat chicken, it's going to be an assault on your ability from...
Well, you don't eat chicken, no?
Yeah, but I do that completely for selfish reasons. My chicken, I don't care.
To not die? That's...
Like, the thing is about it is, like, so whatever what it boils down to, whatever your reasons are, you know, like, whatever your reasons, like, it boils down, like you have to look at it from a much bigger lens than just the single individual and their consumption of chicken, you know. At the root of all things that, like, are like animal cruelty and animal destruction. I won't say that I'm, like, on board with any sort of, like, factory farming or anything, but I can tell you this, as someone who lives in a place where there's a lot of agriculture, and I wake up in the morning, I smell fertilizer and stuff's getting grown. I drive on my way to work and I see the fields with, you know, the migrant farm workers, like, picking up stuff.
Kong lives in California, by the way.
I live in California, but I live a little bit further north of San Diego. Still in Southern California. But legit, like, there's so much stuff that goes into that. Like there's so much stuff that goes into, like, those gigantic fields that produce that stuff to be cleared, to be irrigated, you know. And then you want to talk about, like, you look at, like, the water crisis here in California and, like, the usage of water and, like, what it takes to form infrastructure around being able to water those plants and to be able
terrible.
You just think about it, like, you can literally look on your left side will be complete desert, on your right side will be some sort of, you know, like crazy commercial factory farm situation, and, like, you know, like, you know, when it's harvesting time, because, like, legit there's buzzards.
Did you see that? Did you see that notice about people that live in Poway, how you should be boiling your water because the recent storms, like, contaminated? Anyway, anyone who lives in Poway, if you're listening to this, boil your water.
Shout out to Poway. Shout out to Endless Journey Jiu-Jitsu.
JD Spec,
homie over there. Teach people how to choke each other. Don't drink the water, though.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'll stop asking you questions. I think I've been asking you too many questions.
Yeah, no. So I just think legit.
Ask me a question.
Okay. What's your favorite prime number?
13.
13. That's a dope one. What has been? Okay, I alluded to this earlier. I was going to ask you about your boxing situation.
Oh, boxing. Okay. I used to be more shy about it, but I'm just going to say it. I took a dive. That's the only reason. I'm sorry, Dennis. I don't even know his last name. Adonarado or something. One of his wins, at least, is not legit. And yeah, you knocked me out in the first round, and I went down on a body shot. But that was planned out. And yes, I got paid. I didn't know why I did it really, but I was young, and it opened my eyes up to like, you know, when you realize that like winning. Now, you know what? I don't know what I'm going to say about this really, but it was just a good experience actually. I wouldn't say positive, but it was a learning experience.
Yeah.
Because what happened was I was training boxing and kickboxing in New York City.
Shout out to New York City.
Yeah, my coach knew some people, and they were trying to build up this guy's record. And the guy was 160 pounds. I was probably like 135 back then. And so my girlfriend at the time had to sew some weights into my like spandex shorts. And I had to go down to City Hall, New York, to get weighed in. And all these like super shady, like it was like just straight up like Sopranos type characters.
Yeah.
With like cigars literally. And I was like shaking, like sweat. Like, I mean, I was so scared that I was going to get busted with like weights in my shorts. Anyway, I didn't get busted. I almost did because right after I got weighed in, I immediately just wanted to get these shorts off because I was so scared that these weights were going to bump into each other and like make noise. Yeah. And they let me weigh in with my sweatpants on. And I remember I got up on there with my sweatpants and I was like 155 and they were like, this guy's not even 160. If I could do an Italian accent, I would do it. But he was like, hey, yo, Vinny, this guy's not even 160 with sweatpants on. But anyways, as soon as I got off the scale, I ran into this office room and I like took the weights off. I took the spandex off, and then my pretend coach was like, yo. He came back in. He was like, yo, put him back on. They're making you weigh in again. And because I guess one of the main commissioner guys wasn't present, so I had to like, I was like shaking up. My heartbeat was like, my heart was about to jump out of my chest. I like went behind this door and I like pulled them back on real quick, and the secretary was like looking for me, and she's like, what's wrong? And my coach was blocking her, you know, trying to buy me time. And then finally when I came out, like I was like drenched in sweat. Like and I was only like 20 years old back then. Yeah. So, and they were like, what's wrong? And I was like, and they're like, oh, he's just nervous. And then I weighed in again, and you know, the guy knew, they all knew, you know what I mean? They might not have knew that I had weights in my shorts, but they knew that I was supposed to get beat, you know, like in hindsight, I can understand everything now. Like, you know, but I went through the whole process of getting a professional New York State boxing license. And I know what you have to go through now. You got to do like a CAT scan. You got to do a blood test. You have to go through an interview. And, you know, they told me everything to say. They said, oh, tell them you had a bunch of amateur fights in Canada, blah, blah, blah. And, but everyone's just looking at you like, yeah, we know you suck.
You're the feeder fish.
Yeah. And you're
here for the feeding.
Totally. But at the time I was thinking, hey, I'll get $500. And I only cared about kickboxing back then. Yeah. So I just, and my coach was like, yeah, who cares if you get a bad boxing record, because you're trying to do kickboxing anyway, which I never even had any pro kickboxing fights either. So, but, yeah, even the doctor that was checking me out and making sure that, I was fit to fight, he even told me, he's like, why are you doing this? And he told me like, he's like, you know, your face is going to change. He's like, you get hit in the eyebrows enough, your eyes get droopy. And he tried to talk me out of it actually. Like he probably just looked at me like, hey, this kid goes to NYU and he's studying animation.
He's like smart.
Yeah. Like, why are you doing boxing? But anyways, I went in there and it was in Long Island, and it was supposedly like a pretty big card. Like the main event was Mitch Green. That's the guy that fought Mike Tyson in the streets. But anyways, I went out there
with the Jerry curl. I remember that.
Yeah.
And the thing,
I didn't stay for that fight, but I went out there and that's the hardest I've ever been hit in my head to this day, I think. Well, maybe not, because Manny made me spar. Forget his name. That big dude from Undisputed. Anyways,
Herman?
No, bigger than Herman.
Manchild?
Nah. I've sparred Manchild, but he didn't know how to punch back then. Anyways.
You're fortunate.
Yeah. I can't believe I can't remember his name. Oh, I feel bad.
Shout out to Manchild.
Yeah. Anyways, it was embarrassing because I took a dive, and I remember like walking out of there, people were coming up to me and saying like, "Hey, good fight, man." But it wasn't. It was like sad.
Yeah.
And I knew, because there's no other Asians. There's like no Asian people at all, like probably even in the crowd. And I was like, man, you did not represent Asians, because you just enforce a stereotype that Asians can't box, because no one ever thinks of an Asian boxer, really. Yeah. Even today, when there's a lot of Asian boxers. This is before Pacquiao. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, but name another one. You know what I mean? Anyways, yeah. In less than 5 seconds.
Less than 5 seconds. Hold on my phone now. I pull some up.
Yeah.
Google works.
Auto lie. There you go. But anyway.
Especially boxing. Boxing old school, legit. I'd say like the old school business model for boxing was legit to like play up stereotypes and pit stereotypes against people. It was like really, really like they really relied on that back in the day too. So I can see how like you're in the atmosphere that's how that goes. You know, like, oh, the Mexican versus, you know, the black guy, or the black guy versus you know, well, two Mexican guys are gonna fight and they're gonna stand in the middle.
But you know what though, like
concuss each other.
Blacks and Mexicans have like legit real heroes. Yeah. And anyway, it's not like the weight of like Asian Americans was on my shoulders or anything, but I knew for sure that like after that I was like, hey, I'm not going to do anything that's going to make myself feel like shit. Right. You know? Yeah.
And if you do something, you're going to do it the right way as opposed to.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the crazy thing is too, though, what I learned too is that there's different types of fixed fights.
Oh yeah.
There's fixed fights where the person you're fighting doesn't even know that you're going to take a dive. Right. Yeah. So they would, then there's ones where both people know, you know, I guess there's some other ones too, but yeah, anyway, you know, I'm pretty cynical of all fights now. Like even in MMA, when some of them look really real, you still don't even really know. Like these guys take damage for a living. Yeah. So they don't care if they actually get their face bashed in. Yeah. Like, I mean, they do, but like if they get a big enough payday, they'll make sure it looks real.
The thing about it is like, you got to think about it. It's like sometimes when you see stuff like that happen, like it's layers to it, you know, like it's levels, like you were saying, like it's levels to like the types of dives that are out there. It's levels to like, how far in you are to like the notion that you are not supposed to win. Yeah. Cause sometimes somebody forgets to tell the guy that he's not supposed to win, and they go out there and win.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, so let me paint a picture of what it felt like on the way to the fight. Okay. My whole corner knew what I was going to do. Yeah. Right. I was coached on it and everything, but that whole day leading up to it, everybody had their game face on, and everyone was even though we were in the car driving to Long Island from Gleason's, and there's no one. It was just me, this guy Lord British. His name was literally Lord British. He was the cut man, and then my supposed coach Joe, and someone else that's also in my corner, like carrying the towel or something. But all of us knew that I was going to take a dive, and they were hyping me up as if I was really going to fight. They were still like playing the game, and I feel like they have a lot of experience in in this that I guess it's just better to have that mentality going
Yeah.
into it, like you're a method actor,
Yeah.
you know. But anyways, I did a bad job too. Like it was fake. It was fake as fuck. Like because I have it on VHS somewhere too. And my real kickboxing coach, when he watched it, he was dying laughing. He was like, "Oh my God, that was so bad." Because I was supposed to go down once, get back up, and then go down again. And after I got hit a few times, I was just like, "Fuck this! This is
on purpose. Y'all got me out here. This dude
I'm-
swinging
I
at my head.
I stayed down. I just stayed down. And then when they hit me with the smelling salts, I was like, "Oh shit, that's horrible."
Yeah, that's like
anyways.
a lot of people don't realize, especially when it comes to fighting, like it can be a very, very gross. It's a gross ecosystem. There's a lot of like opportunity, and there's a lot of like people that are like.
There's a red corner and there's a blue corner. I was in the red corner, and most of the people in the red corner were losing. It was like that was like the losers' corner, you know.
Oh,
and
wow.
like you're in that back room where everyone's warming up, and like it feels like Russell Crowe in Gladiator, like waiting to go out. Everyone's just waiting for their time to go out there to get
to
fed.
go die.
Yeah, to go
Fed
die.
to a lion.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's MMA fighting. I mean, like I myself have had the opportunity, like to have done it for like a while. So like to see the progression of MMA, literally, like there's been times where we go into, not here, but maybe go into take guys into Mexico, and you get there and you're fighting in a strip club, and it's like a poorly drawn naked lady that we don't know if she's really just like if it's a naked lady or somebody started the drawing as a mermaid.
They used to have MMA fights in a strip club.
Yeah,
I never went.
One
to
of
this.
the guys I remember one of the guys on the card. There was one time in particular, one of the guys on the card was like a low level luchador, and I think he was there to be the red corner in this situation, but he didn't know, and then he ended up getting beat up, and he was trying to do flips in between because he got the crowd going, and then. But it's just one of those weird situations. Like it gets so shady down at the bottom rung of like sports. You know, like legit dudes with like
exploitation.
Yeah, like first of all, you're a dude in a strip club, and then you get pulled into the back room, and then the promoter goes, "Okay, I know I agreed on this much. You're only probably gonna get $500 to begin with," and then the guy goes, "All I have is $362."
Oh yeah.
You know, and can I send you the money? You're in a foreign country, in a strip club, in a linen closet, and the guy's like, trying to like adjust the price that you agreed upon, and you went out there and like you risked a lot, and you probably bled, and you like need to get stitches, but you don't want to get stitches. You can't if you can't even drink the water. Like, why are you gonna? You know what I mean? You
think those experiences make you tougher though?
I think legit at the end of the day, like those are almost like unfathomable. You know, in the beginning part, when you walk into that gym and you pick up a pair of boxing gloves and you learn how to shadow box and learn how to move in the beginning stages, those things are like the farthest thing from like reality. You don't think that. You know, you think you could. Everybody thinks they're Rocky, you know, from day one, but you don't realize what it probably meant to be Rocky. Like legit, Rocky probably had a few of those fights until he got the opportunity to fight Apollo the first time. You know, like he was probably like the notion of a journeyman. You know, like back in the day. You know, it's like so like you have to wade uncomfortable waters where a lot of times like you're the. Even if you're not in on it.
Even if you're Sage Northcutt and you're groomed.
Yeah, and you're groomed. Like, you could still go out. There's a feeder fish mentality out there. And, like a lot of times people are literally just trying to fatten up their gamecock, you know? So they'll take you out and parade you out like the goat and whatchamacallit? And what's the dinosaur movie? I totally forgot. I was a
Jurassic Park?
Yeah, like the goat in Jurassic Park. They just parade you out there like, bah, and then you just get gobbled up by a velociraptor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know, it's just to bring it back to like connect martial arts and art. Like, there's once money gets involved in a lot of things, it takes the fun out of it, and it just gets ugly. Like, same thing in art too. Like, how many people do art for fun? And then once once money's involved, it's just not fun anymore. I mean, I know what that feels like because you know, I like drawing and stuff, but then once you're trying to sell art, or you're doing something for a commission for someone, and then they start trying to like tell you what to do, it's not fun anymore.
Yeah.
Martial arts, it's like I had fun doing jiu-jitsu. I enjoyed jiu-jitsu, but I was paying money to do jiu-jitsu. Imagine if all of a sudden I'm getting paid to do jiu-jitsu. I mean, I never got to that level, but like, I'm sure it's just becomes way more stressful if you have to win rather than like you have to win to make money to feed your kids or whatever.
Yeah.
That's way harder than just going into a job where you can clock in and drink some coffee and do what you have to do to make money.
Yeah.
But if you, I mean, anyways.
Yeah, jiu-jitsu right now, money-wise, isn't. It's kind of like in that strange area, like in the beginning of MMA. MMA was like, yeah, you could. The cool thing about MMA is you be like, yeah, I fight MMA, but it's almost the same as like being like in like a rap group, you know, back in the day. Like, it's like, yeah, I can go out there and say, like, go to a club and say, yeah, girl, I rap, you know, and that helps me if I'm, you know, trying to, you know, impress a young lady or whatnot. But in reality, like, those checks aren't enough. They're not very impressive.
Yeah.
You know, you're probably sleeping on somebody's couch, you know, like, you're trying to live
you're not going to impress anyone for real by saying you're a SoundCloud rapper.
Yeah. And nowadays, that's kind of what it is. But, you know, like back in or like say you're like a musician, you know, like say you like play the guitar, you know, like in like random bands. It's like what the skill level it takes to get to that point where you're actually like people will pay to listen to you. There's a huge chasm between that performing artist and the person that say like that has a legitimate album out and is making money from an album or is signed to a label or something like that.
But then those are kind of like the glory days too, because when you're like young and you're just hustling and you're not really like experienced, you're not what do you call it? Corrupted. You're not jaded yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a beauty to that stage of your growth.
Yeah.
You know,
what possibility, you know, kind of like everything's possible.
Yeah. I mean, how many times, look at everyone's social media. Like all the older guys are always posting like pictures of back in the day when they were
memories.
Yeah. When they were like, when they looked better, when they had their hand raised, when like everyone's like, oh, TBT when I did this. Like no one really cares, man.
It's good though. Like honestly, like sometimes like I've said it on this podcast before, like I've had many lives. Like I've lived so many different lives that sometimes it's like, especially if you're the type of person like me who's lived a bunch of lives and who is like a habitual Throwback Thursday dude.
Yeah.
Habitual. When that
I didn't mean you.
No, it's all good. That's why I got defensive, because I was like, you know what? Hey, I'll be doing that Throwback Thursday stuff. But if you're someone like me who's got like 18 million different lives, like legit, like it's good to like people know me because like legit of different names. So like if you call me Kong, you probably know me from something fighting related. If you call me Ray, then you probably know me from work,
Texas
or from
Louisiana
Texas,
or something.
or from Louisiana. If you call me by my last name, you probably know me from when I was in the military, you know? So like that's like legit. Like, so like it's interesting when certain stuff pops up and like almost like looking at a tree, looking at the rings on the tree, you know, like going like, oh, that's when that bad storm happened. You cut a tree and you can see the rings.
That's when the bad storm.
That's when that bad storm happened. That's when we got a lot of water that year because, you know, like, oh, I remember that.
I hear you. I
was in Alaska.
It's fun to get nostalgic.
Yeah.
And look back.
I have this thing I think about, like, so like it kind of goes into like it goes into kind of like my philosophy, like cultivating the white space, you know. So what I mean by cultivating the white space is like
Revision your vision.
just time to pause and reflect. You know, there's so many different things like that. We're so in a hurry. It's not just that we're in a hurry in today's day and age for consumption of goods. We're also in a hurry for consumption of experiences. But if you don't have any refractory time to put things into perspective, then you're literally just a consumption machine, and that need to consume is can be destructive, you know? It can be destructive of your joy. It can be destructive of your ability to take a breath, you know? So like I have this like notion of cultivating the white space. There's things like that, like food. There's so many things that we're doing nowadays that trend-wise have a name, like intermittent fasting, aka skipping breakfast.
Yeah.
Like that's a whole thing.
Yeah.
There's dudes with apps that are teaching you how not to eat.
So you're saying that they cultivated the white space and came up with the name?
Exactly. They monetized cultivating the white space and along the lines of, you know, like dietary constraints, you know?
You know, as a teacher, that's an important thing to do too, is after you have a test or
Marie Kondo, you know, the Marie Kondo
yeah,
method.
What is that?
That's almost
I mean, what
like
does that have to do with it?
So like a minimalist, like as far as like life space.
Well, what I was going to say is as far as the...
hugging your old stuff and passing it on.
Oh, okay. No, I was more talking about like...
I just jumped in. I just saw Marie Kondo. I was like, Marie Kondo. That had nothing to do with what you're talking about.
Marie Kondo, is she married to Yuki Kondo?
No.
Okay. No, anyway.
The Kondo method.
Remember when Yuki Kondo he was like the great Japanese hope at one point.
Yeah.
Thought he might have a chance against Vanderlei Silva, but no.
Back in the day.
He got destroyed too. But no, as a
Shout
teacher...
out to Vanderlei Silva.
Or AKA Cyborg. No, I'm just kidding.
Or anybody, all of them.
No, I mean after his plastic surgery. But no, as a teacher, after you got to have a time where and as a parent, you got to take some time to explain to your kid, like kind of summarize what happened, you know? As a teacher, you give a test out and like half the class does bad. You got to take some time out and kind of like that refractory period you're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, you spank your kid or you yell at your kid, you got to take some time out afterwards and explain what happened.
Right.
Maybe, you know, it's important to do that with yourself. Like after important moments, you gotta sit down and like, maybe just take some notes.
Yeah. Like always in a rush to go from place to place. Go here, go there, go here. And then we're going there. And then we're going there. And we're going here. Like sometimes it's sitting, like everyone's, especially nowadays, digitally. Every time you go somewhere, like say like a concert, people aren't even watching the concert. You just see phones. Phones are like the new lighters, you know, like in a concert, you know, like no one's firsthand enjoying the experience.
Put your phones up.
Yeah. You know, no one's firsthand enjoying it. They're all, you know, taking these random, strange, out of focus, blurry images of everything. And like legit, they're like when's the last time one of those people probably sat down and legit watched it? Everyone's got like 800 gigs worth of a terabyte of info of space on your phone.
This coming from the guy who doesnch miss a day of posting on every platform.
I post on all platforms simultaneously, and that's one of the reasons why I'm kind of hip to it. You know, like it's the notion that like this this activity, you know, sometimes you gotta draw back and like, you know. But instead of sitting on your toilet and scrolling other people's lives, just sit on your toilet and scroll your own life. Look at your phone.
Yeah.
Like I mean, if you're gonna look at your phone, you might as well look at like what you've actually taken pictures of. I don't think a lot of people.
Well, what are you looking for when you have that refractory period and you're cultivating the white space? What are you looking for? Are you looking for answers on what your next move is going to be, or are you looking for trying to make sense of what just happened? Are you looking forward, or are you looking at the past?
Sometimes it's a bit of like just being grateful and just thankful for an experience, where you can look back positively to something. It doesn't need to be, it can literally be just nothing, just literally reliving that experience. Just, it doesn't have to have, like, it doesn't have to be pointed. It doesn't have to, because then again, now you're changing the experience. You're adding, that experience now becomes now I'm doing this to this. Like, now there's another ends to a means of, when really you're just letting your life soak in, So like, whether for whatever reason, like, that's just kind of like my thing. Like, if whatever it is that you're doing, sit back, like, cultivate the white space. Just like graphic design, because that's what I do. It's like, you can't have all words on the page. You got to have a little bit of space, and sometimes, and even in any form of art, like, sometimes the space says as much as as the pigment. So like, the balance between the two and using both to speak and add meaning to, your creation. And the same thing with your life, like letting that white space speak, like letting the white space of your life. If you have no white space, that white space could literally be, you don't even have to have it digitally. You could literally just kind of like go on a walk, and have it be a part of like a meditative practice where you're not ruminating over the bad, but just absorbing.
Isn't that what meditation is? Like, people meditate for that very reason. People take a moment of silence.
The thing about meditation, from what I understand meditation to be, is more like no thoughts. Like, you're trying your best to get to a point where you can be conscious but have no thoughts. Like,
that sounds exactly like cultivating the white space.
That's awesome, and I'm not saying that like so much can be said about the prevalence of meditation. Now, there's apps that remind you to be mindful meditation. There's apps that give you like, they wake you up in the morning and they tell you to write down 3 things that you're thankful for. And like, there's also like transcendental things that give you like a mantra that help move you through different things. There's a lot of stuff that's out there that's capitalizing on giving people a path to cultivating white space in their lives. And by all means, any form of meditation, I support that. I just think that for a certain aspect, like, that might be like cultivating the white space might end up being like your gateway drug into actually like getting a more formal pattern of meditation. And like we talked about earlier, we're talking about like people that have different tribes, whether it's veganism or whether it's this, that, and the other. Sometimes you meet people that are like so gung-ho meditation, like that. Being so gung-ho meditation can sometimes be like a tribe in itself.
You mean like monks?
I met some people, no, not necessarily monks, that literally like they're retreating inward, and like that's their expression, like that's kind of like how they are in the world. I'm talking about the dude that
with the man bun.
maybe man bun, whatever his hairstyle. That I'm talking about the dude that just got the meditation app. He's been meditating for 2.5 weeks, and he's just won't shut up about it. And it's like completely missing the point, because legit, he's like screenshotting his meditation app and posting in his Instagram stories. Like, that dude, like, I mean, maybe that's not the way, we go about doing that. And maybe you'll get more from it if you go about a different way. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying, I'm not telling anybody any, but that's just like my notion of like.
Yeah, there's always weekend warriors for everything.
Yeah, and it's fun. Weekend warriors are fun, and tribes are fun, because you get people to go, yeah, that's awesome. You got your own built-in cheerleaders when you join a cult. They're like, yeah, new guy.
Yeah. New T-shirts.
New T-shirts, hats, swag.
Yeah.
You get a new
New
Instagram,
followers.
You get a new Instagram like sub thing. You know what I mean? Like transcendental, meditate, whatever it is. But my thing is, that's just kind of like been my thing right now. Like recently, at least, like I'm working to make it more of a full and complete thought. You know, maybe a book. You know, but cultivating the white space is kind of like my whole my newest understanding of things. The same way, I think sometimes about like urbanism, you know, like being so urban that like life becomes completely different than, you know.
Well, you live in Hemet.
Exactly. So suburban. I've fled from the urban. I have effectively left the urban to bask in the glory of not a whole lot of people. I got space to swing my arms, you know.
Yeah.
Not very far, but I mean just a little.
No, you
bit.
got a lot of space.
Yeah. So that's just my whole thing is just cultivating the white space. You know, who knows? A lot of like when you talk about like veganism and whatnot, like, and you talk about like the issues that we have with like pollution and the things that we have as far as like issues that are created by like people being stacked on top of each other, like, you know, opting for convenience, you know, over purpose. A lot of times it's if I can get it faster, I don't care if this is single-use plastic, you know. I'll use this single-use plastic and then I'll put it in my little plastic bin. And meanwhile, we don't even realize that the plastic that's supposed to be being
it's
recycled,
just going to get burned.
It's not even that. It'll either get burned in one of our dumps, or it'll get shipped over to another country where we have some sort of strange relationship where they're supposed to dispose of or / recycle or sort through. Our recycle here in the U.S. legit, like, it sucks. Like, we literally just bag it up and send it to somewhere else on a barge, and then it ends up getting burned. And like, it's not, the root of the matter is that it's that overconsumption at the root of it. Is that what is kind of like that's where it starts. It's like we want to overconsume. I want this plastic thing. I want that plastic thing. I want that thing. I got this new thing came out. I need the new joint. You know.
That's why I'm still wearing the same clothes I did in high school.
I wish I don't fit the same clothes. I was like your size in high school. My head was much bigger.
Yo, give me some of those. I need some new clothes, man.
If I still had them. I don't have them. But
no, my little brother, he's all about everything you just said, and he lives in Colorado, and he's all environmental and everything. And then, but then I was like, dude, you have 18 snowboards.
Yeah. Well, but that's
you
what
go
I'm
on
saying.
You go on these trips.
It's not. It's like
he just bought like all this stuff. And he was giving me shit for using plastic containers and not throwing away my stuff into a compost. And then when he left, he came to visit for like a week. He had like 1 million like Amazon boxes and like styrofoam peanuts and stuff. And he just left it. He didn't even break them down. I was so mad.
Shout out to Otto's brother.
Yeah. Anyway.
We telling on you now. You gonna see this. He done put it out in the universe, baby.
Yeah, I'm venting.
You know.
Anyways.
That's another thing, bro. Like Amazon boxes, what's up with that? Why give you so much stuff? and it comes quick. Don't get me wrong. I ain't gonna lie. Amazon is you know what I mean? They fast. They get there like that, you know.
Yeah.
However, if you order, I ordered some tires for my truck. Why did my tires come in a box? 4 individual boxes for 4 individual tires. I ordered them all, quantity 4. Yep, boing. 4 individual boxes to fit truck tires in. Those boxes are like $25 each, at least. Yeah. God bless their heart. You know what I mean? Shout out to Amazon Prime. Yeah, but that's like
sponsorship.
Sponsorship. We ain't got no sponsors right now. It's legit just it's just me doing this and hopefully, like, some people like it and enjoy it. Oh, I mentioned it before.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things about your story is because when I was young, I was an MTV junkie, and I loved Celebrity Deathmatch.
Oh yeah, Celebrity
And to actually
Deathmatch.
finally know the person that made, like original claymation, like animator, like is like it's trippy to me, So
I didn't
though you don't
actually-
bring that up, I will bring it up at every possible.
I didn't actually animate anything. I was a modeler. But so Celebrity Deathmatch is the brainchild of this guy named Eric Fogel. He also created this.
Shout out to Eric Fogel.
Yeah, shout out to Eric Fogel. He also created a show called The Head on MTV, but he came up with this idea to have celebrity claymation fights, and initially it was just me and this other guy working on it because it hadn't been greenlit yet. So they had like almost no budget, and I don't even know how I got into it. I think because I was an intern on Beavis and Butthead, and someone was just like, hey, Otto's I was at NYU at the time taking a stop motion class, and I had some stop motion like claymation stuff on my reel, and I knew how to make the armatures that I just learned straight from my teacher, Dean Leonard. And
Shout out to Dean Leonard.
Yep. And so they just were like, hey, why don't you want to work on this? And they just threw me in a room with this other guy, and we made all the characters and the audience. And then while I was working on modeling stuff, as when you work in any kind of job, you're pretty much under scrutiny and you get a chance to prove yourself. So as I was working, I just started making more stuff, and then they gave me more responsibilities, and I got to work on the pilot, which was Marilyn Manson versus Charles Manson. And I made the Marilyn Manson wins. He rips Charles Manson's skeleton out of his body. So I made the skeleton. It was cool. It was a cool experience. But afterwards, they didn't hire me back.
Oh.
And I don't think it's my fault. I think because the guy that got me that job, he had some beef with the producer of that show. There's a lot of politics at MTV, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
But it's okay because I went on to a better paying job at Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
MTV was notorious for low pay, for exploiting. It's all everything is, everyone's getting exploited in every field. Artists get exploited, fighters get exploited, and it's just a race to try to out exploit one another or just to get a bigger piece of the pie. But I'm hoping that I can change that by starting my own animation school and creating my own content and trying to create a system to a system where artists get to create their own content and don't get exploited. And it's got to be the system has to be set up right. I think that's kind of like if you look at MMA fights, the rule set, the rounds, why is there 3 rounds in an MMA fight instead of, the Pride days where there's one 10-minute round, one 5-minute round? Why are there like no eye gouging? Why are there certain rules? Well, it's because they realize that there's a system. With a good system, you get the best fights and you can preserve the longevity of the fighters. Well, if you set up a good system for a school, if you set up a good system for creating art, then you get the best results, and there's a lot of room for improvement. So check out FX Dojo. I guess follow Instagram and Facebook and
FXDojo.com?
FXDojo.com. I mean, really, there's not that much. It's just if you want to take 3D animation classes, check it out. But, if you have any questions or you have ideas, hit me up.
I just think, the whole thing with my podcast, the Martial Arts Podcast, is like talking about the confluence between martial arts and
Oh, that's
art.
what it's about?
Yeah.
Damn, we got off topic.
We got so far on topic. But the trippy part is your school is called FX Dojo.
Yup.
It's literally the manifestation of that. Like,
Yup. It's exactly that's martial artsy.
that's
You know what?
martial
We
artsy.
should team up.
For reals.
Yeah.
Legit. So, like, how long has your school been there?
Since 2012.
2012. And then where's it located?
Liberty Station, San Diego. That's in Point Loma. Yeah, Liberty Station. Just look up hashtag Arts District Liberty Station. There's Liberty Public Market. A lot of good food right next to Stone Brewery. I'm right above a coffee shop called Chi Chocolat, right across the street from Slater 50/50, right across the street from Con Pane Bakery, on the second floor.
One of the dopest things that I think that I've been a part of that you've got a chance to do has been legit like putting together shows. It's like showcasing artists like that are in our community that we know that aren't different things, and doing it in a fun manner.
You've sold art.
Yeah, I've sold art.
Yeah.
I created art and I showcased it there,
Yeah.
and I've actually
Sold it.
sold
You
art.
made some money.
Yeah, and that's part of. It's just funny because like you do something so much like you probably don't even think about like talking about it, but like that's probably one of the coolest things ever. Like you were talking about creating that ecosystem where people can actually have a better path as far as like things that they do artistically and being able to capitalize off of it. One of the most fun things was the Star Wars.
Oh, the Star Wars art show. Yeah. That wasn't just me. That was working together with Harry Chang and Mike Fagoso and a bunch of
Shout out
other
to Harry
people.
Chang.
Yeah, Harry Chang, the Changsta.
Chang JiuJitsu. I just made that up. Hopefully he's not
Yeah.
mad about it.
That's okay. He's
Changsta.
up in LA somewhere, I think.
Changstas make the world go.
Yeah,
round.
Star Wars art show was cool. That took some years off my life. That was hard. It's hard work.
How many entrants did you have? Like people. Just rough numbers.
like 170 pieces of art, because all the art shows that I worked on, we try to just limit everyone can submit a piece of artwork. There's no entry fee. Everyone's allowed to submit one piece of artwork pertaining to the theme, and we accept everything pretty much, as long as there's no like dicks on it or something.
Yeah.
No swastikas, no dicks.
Yeah. Not even in a box.
As long as we don't catch it.
Yeah. If you got subliminals, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, that's up to you. But hey,
Yeah.
don't make that. We're just gonna put that out there. One of the dopest things I don't think the people that are listening to it really can kind of conceptualize this, but legit, besides the 170 entrants there was also like an orchestra, and they were like dressed up as Star Wars. They were playing.
Oh yeah. Well, the Star Wars art show, you already know that San Diego is the home of Comic-Con, so San Diego is like the highest nerd population in the world.
Level of nerds, like freaking.
We had stormtroopers,
Golden
we had
Master
Chewbacca.
nerds.
Yeah, we had like 3 Darth Vaders show
levels.
up, and we got Harry's the mastermind of that one. He inspired me a lot, and now I'm doing art shows on my own, but since Harry moved away, but that was probably the biggest one I ever worked on with Harry, and his idea was to also bring in a string quartet to play Star Wars music.
And they were on fire. I was like, yo, they're playing the Star Wars music right now. And there's a Chewbacca walking, because there's like somebody.
Yeah, there was a Chewbacca.
Somebody was legit all like.
And he was like 7 feet tall too.
Yeah, like I'm big, and this person was bigger. I'm pretty sure I have a picture. I
know I do. I got pictures.
felt tiny next to this, substantial.
You were smaller back then.
I was. You gotta rub that in, man. Come on, son. Come on, son. First you give me talk about the vegans, and then you talk about
No,
how fat
man.
I am.
I'm trying to gain weight.
I'm
trying to gain weight. It's a compliment.
I'm a trained professional. I'll show you how it's done.
Yeah.
First of all, you have to put some meat on your plate.
That's true. Let's eat.
These is all jokes,
Yeah.
people. All right. I guess we could probably wrap this up. we've already talked like a million times about like where you can find him. FXDojo.com. FXDojo.com. All the things are underneath there. He's on Facebook, Instagram. You got anything going on like right upcoming?
Yeah, Year of the Rat art show coming up. I think January 25th is going to be the day, but
okay.
But I might push it back. But anyway,
Okay.
2020 is Year of the Rat. So if you like to draw or paint or make sculptures or something, just make something that has a rat or related to a rat, and we'll put it in the show. And
Word.
Then yeah.
So that's a whole lot, man. Thank you for your time. Thank you for opening up your house, and thank you for
Thanks for coming over, man.
just being a good friend. And I guarantee you, we're trying to get these numbers up. We might do like one or two more. Like,
yeah.
I'll show up like a ninja. I'll show up to an art show, and we'll do a podcast for art show.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
No, we hit some good topics today. Let's do it again.
Awesome.
Us.
Os.